Hello, today we will discuss how to calculate a buyer's net sheet, seller's net sheet, and how to select multiple offers if, let's say, a seller has received multiple offers. And at the same time, rent versus buy, which is a must right now to verify if renting is much better than buying a home. In the meantime, I am in the website dashboard of First American Title. I am partnered with several title companies, Chicago Title, First American Title, Great American Title, so many title companies out there who are willing to help real estate agents in order for us realtors to assist our clients. I have received several calls from clients asking for their net bottom line. For instance, a seller who would like just to net 500,000 or 400,000. How do we put it on the market if their goal is just that? But there are some unrealistic expectation, obviously, so we need to kind of like put it in the middle in a way that once you get your net, you also need to know what the market is accepting as far as value is concerned. A disclaimer, I'm not affiliated with First American Title. All information here is provided as a courtesy. And for my clients, if they reach out to me and if they need help for, let's say, if they want just to get an approximate estimate of what they'll be netting at the closing table or an approximate estimate of what they'll be bringing at the closing table, then you can reach out to me and I can help you in that process. In the meantime, let's discuss what we have here in the dashboard. The first is the buyer's net sheet. In here, what it typically does is it will give you some typical costs on how much you will be bringing at the closing table depending on your loan type. If your loan, let's say, is a VA loan, an FHA loan, USDA loan, conventional loan, cash, etc. At the same time as well, how much down payment you plan to provide. Is it 10% down with a 90% loan and all those stuff. It will also show here the typical fees, closing cost fees that you will pay, like origination fee, processing fee, tax service contract fees, document preparation fees. Keep in mind that your lender will still have an accurate quote for you. This is only for informational, so at least you know what the ballpark figures are instead of offering blindly. That's why it is very critical to get a pre-approval letter and at the same time cost estimates sheet. But what I'm doing right now is just to show you from my end how we give these estimates to our clients. Also a disclaimer, I'm not a licensed loan officer nor a lender. Again, all this information is provided as a courtesy. Okay, in here, I would input a location. Let's say 7, let's put address here. If you notice, when I inputted the address, it automatically populated the figures. Let's say we plan to offer 300,000 here, this property, or it's a sales price of 300,000. And let's say you're a conventional loan. Let's say we have ABC lender. And let's say you plan to put 10% down, which equates to 90% loan. And the interest rate defaulted here is 4.25. I'll leave it at that rate, 30 years fixed. And the amount showing here is 270,000. Why? Because your down payment is 30,000, which is 10% off 300,000. And estimated projected closing date is July 4th. To be realistic, let's put, I guess that's also doable. Let's put June 30th, at least 30-day, more or less 30 to 45-day period. If you notice, it pulled the annual property tax information off this particular property. And there's a note here saying that property tax information is provided by data companies who specialize in aggregating county assessors' annual tax amounts from each of the 3,100 plus county assessors' offices across the U.S. Each of these offices independently determine the date they make this information available to data companies. And some of them are less timely than others. So users are encouraged to go directly to the county assessor's website. And there's also a disclaimer here. These are estimated fees. Actual fees may vary. Property taxes are presumed to be reliable but are not guaranteed. So they said to contact First American Title or office for any questions about the cost. But anyway, bottom line is it automatically defaulted all the cost sheet here. And this is specific to the cost for First American Title. And typically, lender will charge for appraisal because you need appraisal when you get a loan. And there are times also that this is buyer specific. You'll have to pay for HOA transfer fee, and sometimes you'll have to pay home warranty, but it depends. Usually sellers can assist in that. There's also prepaids here, 6 months taxes. Let's say if the tax rate of a particular property is at 2.727, then it will calculate it that for you. 15 months insurance is the home insurance, and 30 days interest rate. At the same time, it will also charge for a PMI, private mortgage insurance, because you're not putting in 20%. Usually, if you're putting 20% down, then this will disappear. And now you'll have your principal interest, real estate taxes, homeowner's insurance, monthly PMI, which is the private mortgage insurance, and all those stuff, which will amount to a total monthly payment of around $2,156.35. Which means that for a 300,000 home and with a 10% down payment, most likely you'll be paying a monthly estimate of $2,156.35. Keep in mind that principal interest and interest are fixed. These are the ones that are changing. It depends. It goes higher and lower. So in taxes, sometimes you may have to protest your taxes, whereas for insurance, you will have to shop for insurance every year to make sure you get the right deal. And for your total investment, cash to close, meaning that the amount that you'll be bringing to the closing table is around $40,169.93. Okay, now we're done with that. At least you have an idea of how much you'll be paying monthly, and at the same time, how much investment that you'll be bringing to the table once it's closing day. Now we'll go to the dashboard once again and go to the seller's net sheet. In this case, this is for the seller. Okay, if let's say the seller would like to know their net bottom line by accepting an offer at a certain price. For instance, let's input again the same property. And for the same property, let's say the buyer is offering $300,000. Conventional buyer with 80% loan, which is 20% down. If the seller has like a loan payoff, a balance on their loan. I assume, for instance, they have it at $200,000 because typically it's not paid off, right? Once you sell the house, either it's paid off or not paid off, you have a loan. But for the sake of this example, let's say the seller has an existing balance on their loan. As you notice, when I inputted the address here, it automatically populated the property taxes. Again, there's a note here that it is provided by data companies, and you have to go directly to the county assessor's website if it's not acceptable. These are the closing costs that are typically paid by the sellers. Owner's title policy, lender's title policy, that's the buyer, but this is seller. Escrow settlement statement, it's a split between the buyer and the seller. There are also certain reports that they can pay. And as far as the main bulk of the closing costs is the commissions of the agents. In here, they usually put at 3%. Keep in mind, these are paid to the brokers, not the realtors. The brokers are the ones paying the realtors. If the agent is a broker, then the money goes directly to the agent who is a broker. But if it's not, like for myself, in my case, I am a realtor. I'm not a broker. I'm under a certain brokerage, and the amount of money will be paid directly to the broker, and the broker in turn will pay for my services less fees, not including taxes here. These are gross, so they will have to subtract all the fees that are due to the brokerage, and then I'll get my share. When I get my share, there. I have to pay the taxes and so on and so forth. Because I know some folks think that, let's say for this 9,000 amount, we get all of this, but no, in reality, we don't. Just want to clarify that. And in this part here, it also details typical fees here. Home warranty, sellers can pay for this, or it's an option for the sellers not to pay, especially when the market is hot. Warranty deed, HOA transfer fees, option fee debit. I guess here in Texas, we changed our contracts recently that option fees are directly paid to the tile companies. So I'll have to remove that for now. As you see, the closing cost already is projected here at 21,115. There are other costs here. This is, I think, more for the buyers. So total cost for the sellers, bottom line, if let's say they sell it, they accepted an offer at 300,000 and have a loan balance of 200,000, then their net sheet with taxes is around 76,000 to 80.50. Okay, now we're going back to the dashboard, and this time we'll do the seller multiple offers just to see how the sellers choose the offer. Let's put the property here again. Let's say the price of the house is listed at 300,000, and let's say the first buyer offered 310. Let's say buyer A. And let's say the seller has a 200,000 loan. And as you can see for buyer A, at 310,000, the seller will be netting 85,527.5. Okay, in this case. And they're asking here for 500 home warranty. I'll remove this option fee here. And that's for the first offer, 85. For the next offer, we put it at buyer B. For instance, they're offering 290. If you look at it, 310, 290. On the price itself, we already know who to choose, correct? But in this case, let's see if they're cash. What will the seller net here? And they're not asking for that. And they're paying for everything. So in this case, the seller net is 67,433.5. Even though it's cash, it's still low to start with. But if, let's say, it's a 310,000 cash, so 86,000. 86,127.5. So the previous offer here, if we compare, it's 85,627.5. And the next offer here is 86,127.5. If I put 500 here for the warranty, just to see if there's a difference. So whether it's the previous offer for conventional and the next offer for cash, almost the seller net sheet is the same. If I were to choose here cash or conventional, I will advise my client to choose the cash, because conventional, you'll have to have contingency there with appraisal, financing contingency. There's so many contingency for a loan. But with the cash, it's fast closing. You don't have all those contingency. So that's how sometimes we analyze who to choose as far as an acceptable offer. We'll go back to the dashboard once again. And this time, let's go here, rent versus buy. In this rent versus buy comparison or calculator compares the total cost of renting with the total cost of buying by looking at the number of factors that affect renting and purchasing. So unlike virtually every rent versus buy calculator available on the internet, this system uses actual closing costs from Cost First Buyer's closing cost module based on the zip code of the property. So it's more accurate, if that makes sense. And it says here, additionally, when we calculate the future sale of the property you purchase, we do not use a simple flat one rate fits all sales cost estimate, but rather real seller's closing costs calculated dynamically from the module. So in this case, it also says here, the cost of renting includes monthly rent, renter's insurance, while the cost of buying is based on the purchase price and the type of financing selected. Example, an FHA, VA, USDA, and conventional loans. For instance, if I am a renter and would like to buy this same property, I don't think this purchase price is even realistic. Let's put it at 300,000. And right now, what would it cost monthly to rent that home? I'm thinking to rent that home would be around 2,000. Let's see. So let's say it's costing you to rent a home $2,000. You purchased the home at $300,000. With your down payment, let's say you're a conventional loan. There's several choices here, but typical conventional if you have great credit scores and you plan to put a 10% down payment and your interest rate is 4.25. So that's 270,000 of the loan, 30,000 down payment, an annual property tax, HOA fees. It's not calculated here. Rent appreciation, rent insurance, 5, and all those stuff. It says here, buyer is cheaper than renting after 3 years. So that's the scenario that it's getting at. So now you'll know that buying is cheaper than renting by just putting all these figures. We'll go back to the dashboard once again for our last demonstration. And this time, what will the seller must net? I know a lot of sellers would like to get their bottom line when they put the home in the market, especially when they talk to the agents. Hey, I just want my net bottom line here. How much do you think we need to list it in the market? So on and so forth. This is a tool that I usually use in order to provide them that information. Example, for this particular property again, if for instance, the seller has a balance of 200,000 for the sake of this example. And that's the proration of taxes. That's the balance, loan to be paid, and these are the information. I would like to net 80,000. For example, the buyers is conventional and they plan to put 20% down. Loading the current rates. Okay, in order for me to net 80,000, so this is an approximate. All these commission fees out on the table, as me, the seller paying all these title policies and stuff, the typical fees. In other words, I need to get it to a sales price of 304,128. What I'll do here is I will check the market to see if that price is reasonable as far as listing it. And from there, who knows, we can put it at 310,000 or 305,000 or 315,000, but it will depend on the market, on the reasonable amount on what to list it at. But at least you get an idea of how much your bottom base as far as accepting offers, which is at 304,000 in order to get that 80,000. Again, at this point, we just need to be realistic. If let's say the house is really not 304 but 300,000, I mean, this is where we start the communication with the seller as to what realistic expectation is as far as they must net. Hope it helps, and thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel to be part of my insider real estate tips and secrets. Hit the like and notification bell to receive up-to-the-minute videos every week.